everyone, it's Elaine. Thank you for joining me back on my YouTube channel. In today's video I'm going to be sharing another interactive sliding window card. So to start off with, I have some heavyweight white watercolour card. This is hot press watercolour card and it has a smoother texture because of that, and it is slightly smaller than an A2 sized card panel. So to start off with, I've taken my picked raspberry distress ink on a mini ink blending tool, tapping off some excess, and then I've grabbed one of my favourite stencils. You've seen me use this many times if you've followed my videos in the past. It is the mini cloud stencil from My Favourite Things, and I'm just lightly blending on some really lovely fluffy pink clouds and just working my way up, rotating that stencil as I go. I'm getting some nice variation in those mini puffy clouds. Just adding a few more details or puffy clouds at the bottom of this panel, and there my cloudy panel is complete. Moving on to the images, I have some Strathmore Bristol smooth cardstock here, and in my mini Misty here I have popped the Up We Go stamps, which are the Hampton Art but Mama Elephant images, and I'm inking those up with some Versa Fine Onyx black ink. I have already pre-treated this card with my anti-static powder tool, and I'm inking those up a couple of times for a nice good impression. Remove those from the Misty, and then I am going to coat these with some clear embossing powder, and then I will heat set that with my heat tool, making sure everything is nicely melted and shiny and glossy. Then I can start moving on to my colouring. So today I'm going to be using these Zig Clean Colour Real Brush markers, and the colours I've used are listed here on the screen. And I have recently picked up the Zig Blender pen, so I'm going to be using that in my video today. All of the colours I'm using are listed on the screen, but I'm also going to put them down in the description box below, and you can also find a coordinating blog post to this video, and that will also have all of the colours I'm using today listed, as well as all of the other supplies. I haven't used this stamp set for a while. I did use it quite a lot about a year or so ago before I started making YouTube videos, but I had this idea for a card and I decided that this stamp set would be perfect. So just moving through, I've just shown you the colouring of a few of the balloons, one of each colour. So here I've just got my turquoise and I'm moving on to a green. So just starting with the darkest colour on the left, moving through with a slightly lighter shade and moving in with that blender. And I just shade them all the same with all the light source in the same direction, just to give it some uniform colouring so that it all looks cohesive and all works well together. And again, just using my darkest colour on the left hand side of the bunny, moving to the right and getting lighter as I move across. Just putting some pale grey here for the bunny and some light pink on his tummy and the cheeks. Just keeping the colouring really simple. Just finishing off his hand there, which I forgot. Now I'm using the coordinating dies to cut these out. I'm just going to pop those through my Big Shot, and here I've got them nicely cut out. Moving on to my card panel and the interactive element. This is the Sunny Studio Stamps sliding window die. I've just popped that into the centre of my card panel there and run that through my Big Shot, being really careful to remove that blue tape so I don't rip any of the card panel. I'm using that half moon notch, pop that in the centre of my panel, and again carefully peeling that up once it's gone through my Big Shot. So here I'm just deciding how I'm best going to pop my card and get all the elements added together. So I put my little bunny in there onto the card panel. I'm then going to remove that bunny, as I'm just using that as a guide to where I need to ink up the balloons. I'm going to be inking up the balloons directly to the card panel. So I'm just again using my VersaFine Onyx Black ink to do this. Then just working out where the strings will best meet my bunny. Again, just securing that down. I'm just masking off an area because I want it to look like the bunny is holding those strings. And I didn't want it to have any string lines across the ears. So just masking that off, stamping that down, and then just removing that bunny. So now he looks like he's actually holding the balloons. So I am just going to pause the video here for a second because I just wanted to explain. Originally I had decided that I was just going to adhere my bunny and adhere those balloons and everything would pop up and be perfect. However, the length of the bunny and the balloon strings and the balloons was beyond that middle score line where everything pops up. So I had to be creative. So moving on through the video, I'm just going to show you how I managed to get everything to work how I wanted it. I've run this panel through my die cut machine. In hindsight, I think I would have preferred to have done some partial die cutting, but I was not about to ruin and throw my card panel in the bin. So here's what I did. I just used my knife, my craft knife here, and I'm just making some little cut lines down to that middle score line of the die, which the die creates. And here I'm just using that score line. I like to stamp before I score so that everything sort of stamps out evenly and nicely. So I'm just using my bone folder here to score along that score line. And that allows everything to pop up. Now I'm just scoring along that bottom score line. I've grabbed my initial card panel piece, which was die cut, and I'm just using some masking tape here to secure that back onto the card, just in between those cut lines that I made. And to make everything a little more secure, I'm just using a piece of, that's just a piece of scrapped heavyweight white card, and that is just going to sit above that score line on the back. Next up, I'm just going to use some liquid adhesive and pop my coloured balloons on top, directly above that die cut. Next up, I need to take some 1/8 inch double-sided adhesive, and I'm popping that on the back of that bottom scored piece. And now I'm taking another piece of heavyweight white card, just using some blue tape to help me secure down those flaps. And this is slightly wider than that opening that the die or the sliding window die creates. And you can start to see it coming together here. Now I'm taking some Scotch 3M foam tape and I'm doubling this up so that I get some nice dimension. And I have trimmed or cut this piece down into thirds because I need to make sure that it's going to be thin enough along the edges so that it doesn't interfere with the sliding window mechanism. If I was to repeat this, I would have only removed the double-sided release paper, or I would only have removed the release paper from one side, because I did find it made things a little bit more tricky once I'd removed that release paper. However, it was fine. I did use my embossing buddy along the edges to help everything move up and down nicely. So now I'm going on to the secret window reveal area. This is an A2 size card base I have here. I'm just masking off the edges because my cloudy panel is slightly smaller than an A2 size card and I didn't want any pink peeking out the edges. So I've got my clarity stencil brushes here. I'm also going in with these makeup brushes that I got for Christmas that I'm actually using for my craft room. That's just some post-it tape and some blue tape, and you'll see it just creates a nice border. I've popped that into my mini Misty, and I'm using this birthday scripty stamp. I'll have the exact stamp set listed in the description box below. I've used my VersaFine Onyx Black ink to stamp that, and then I've popped that cloudy panel directly over the top. Now, because I did use 2 layers of foam tape, I did find that it was dipping a little at the top. So I've used some more foam tape. I've just removed the release paper from one side, because if I'd have taken both sides off, it would have stuck my card panel there, my slidey card panel, to the foam tape, and then I wouldn't have been able to pull it up and down. So just helps to stop anything from bowing and dipping. Some more liquid adhesive to secure my bunny, to make him look like he's holding those balloons. And I think that started to look really, really cute. I did cut these clouds. These are clouds cut from the Crafting Desert Divas Puffy Cloud die. And I'm just working out where best to secure my clouds. I'm using some liquid adhesive to secure my clouds to my card panel. Just covering up some areas where I got some ink splotches. So these are great, these little embellishments are great to disguise any mistakes you might have made. Just popping one more behind those balloons. And this is cut from some really nice shimmery paper, although the camera doesn't pick it up. Adding on some little clear jewels. These are Pretty Pink Posh clear droplets. Adding some white gel accents for some highlight. This is a Uniball gel pen, size 1. And just to finish off, so that people know that you need to do something with the card, I've used this Pull Me from Heffy Doodle Interactively Yours stamp. I've just stamped that out with some Memento black ink, and I've used that little half moon to cut out this little shape, which is going to fit nicely into that other notch that we cut out earlier. Just using some liquid adhesive to secure that down. Wait for that glue to dry. And there, my interactive sliding window card is finished. I really hope you enjoyed that video today. I hope you found it helpful. I hope it gave you some inspiration. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.